How's it going, everybody? It's Pilot Flame, and we are back with another off-season video. And today we're going to be taking a look at my team of the season. Got a bunch of FIFA cards behind me on the thumbnail here, but it's going to be a little bit different. I'm going to be doing it slightly different. I'm not going to be picking just a bunch of Man City or a bunch of Man United or a bunch of Liverpool players. No. We're going to make it interesting, and I challenge you to do the same thing as well, because it is actually quite difficult. What we're basically going to do is we're going to do a team, and we're only allowed one player or the manager from that team. So if I pick Mo Salah as an example, I cannot pick Jurgen Klopp or any other Liverpool players in my team. And what I've done is I've built a squad of 11. I've built 3 subs, 1 defender, 1 midfielder, 1 attacker, kind of, and the manager as well. And it's going to be what my style of play was if I could basically pluck one player from or manager from each team. And it's actually quite a lot more difficult than it sounds, because you think, oh yeah, I'll get Mo Salah, but I'll also bring in Mane and oh wait, I've already used Mo Salah. I can't get anyone else. Or oh, I'd like Kane and Son as a duo. Well, you can't get that. You can only get either or. So it is quite fun to do, and I've made mine up for you today. If you haven't done so already, make sure to leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you are new. We're going to be doing a lot of off-season content, and turn those notification bells on so that you can get the content as soon as it is readily available. Drop us a follow over on Twitter so you can keep up to date with all the off-season news. I'm going to be retweeting stuff about transfers as well as any FPL news that we do get. And we're going to be taking a look at the Euros, which we'll be doing maybe some watch-alongs over on Twitch. We'll be definitely doing our Manchester United career mode. That's going to be on Friday this week. It's going to be our inaugural episode. I'm probably going to have to get it on PC and then just play it that way. So we'll see how that goes. Not the greatest at FIFA, but it's good to see if I can beat what Ole did this past season. So we'll see how that goes. But without further ado, let's see what team I have drawn up for you for my team of the season. So as I mentioned, this is a team of the season where every player and every manager and sub is unique in its own right. And this is how I would go about it. So if I was, a billionaire and I created Pilot Flame FC, as it were, and we're going into the Premier League, and I'm allowed to basically, take a manager and players from other teams to build my own super team, but I'm only allowed one from each club. This is what I would go with personally. So the goalkeeper that I've gone with is Alphonse Areola of Fulham. And you may think, oh, you're getting a player that's being relegated. Well, Areola was probably the shining light on Fulham's team, apart from maybe Anguissa, I would say, and maybe Anderson as well. But Areola did make a lot of saves. He's very commanding in the air. He's pretty good with his feet as well. Can play out from the back quite nicely. But he did exceed his XG conceded, which is quite good out of a goalkeeper on a team that is getting relegated. And basically what that stat means is, based on the number of shots, their XG was basically amalgamated, and the ones that didn't go in were basically taken off, and the ones that did go in were added on, basically. And the number came out that Areola ended up saving, I think it was like 3 to 4 goals total of the shots that he faced, extra than what he probably should have. So he should have conceded 3 to 4 more goals being in net for Fulham. But he's my goalkeeper. I think he's quite good, and there's probably some honorable mentions I would say would be Nick Pope, because there's not really much else on Burnley. Maybe the center backs, to play at center back, but I think I have a better pairing at center back. And we'll actually start there. My one-man City player here is going to be Ruben Diaz. Now, Ruben Diaz is by and far City's probably most important player this season. I think he's come in and transformed the defense. I think he's made John Stones a much better player. Now, this means that I can't have Kevin De Bruyne. I can't have Phil Foden either. But I think Diaz's leadership at the back, his just presence in the air, his presence on the ground, he's great with his feet. I would say the only fault on him, probably the whole season, is that, really, really fast-paced players are very good against him. So, like, as an example, I think the only time I ever saw him really, really get disturbed in behind was someone who had blistering pace or was super, super strong, like Erling Haaland, as an example, in the Champions League. He was able to get by him, but Diaz put him off just enough, and he wasn't able to get a shot away. But Diaz, no questions for me. I think he should be the player of the year for the season. probably alongside Bruno Fernandes. I really can't split between the two. I think they're both kind of up there. And they were both as important for each other. You can argue maybe Bruno Fernandes, because without Fernandes, United just doesn't come top four, I don't think. Whereas if Diaz doesn't play in City's team, do they win the title? Maybe, because a lot of teams faltered this season, like Chelsea, when Lampard was, as their manager, and Liverpool with the injuries that they had, and United was just inconsistent no matter who they had playing. So I think City would have probably somewhat comfortably won the league, even without Diaz, but he's definitely made them a lot better. As his partner, the Leicester player that I'm choosing is Wesley Fofana. I think he's had an excellent season. Yes, he typically plays, in a back three under Brendan Rodgers. And actually, I would switch them around. I'd have Fofana, who typically played as right-sided centre-back, for Brendan Rodgers, and I'd have Diaz of left side of center. Diaz can play both sides, but Fofana excellent with his feet, pretty good in the air as well, likes making those surging runs forward, and in this system, you'll see why. Actually, what we'll do is we'll review the manager next, so you can see what kind of system I'm going with. But yeah, Diaz and Fofana, I think, two great ball-playing center backs. Fofana gives like the height and strength with the driving runs. Diaz with the composure as well. Both of them are very good in the air. Both of them are great on the ground. Both of them are fairly press resistant and can get the ball out the back no problem. And both are great at tackling as well, which is something you need out of your defenders. And they're all going to be playing under. Hopefully you can see that. I'm going to put him on the touchline there. He's going to be marauding up and down the touchline, and then he kind of sits on his little, what is it, ice bucket or something. But it's going to be a Marcelo Bielsa system, and if you know anything about Bielsa system, it's a 4-1-4-1 high pressing aggressive man-to-man system, and I've gone with something that's going to be quite good for that with the players. With a high pressing system, Areola, he's not as comfortable, I would say, coming out from his goal, but I think he's definitely better than Pope, which was probably my other choice. And Diaz and Fofana, Fofana's got the pace to track back as well. Diaz is still decently quick, but Fofana is definitely just as fast as some of the fastest attackers in the league. At right back, our Chelsea player is going to be Reece James here. I just think that he is somebody who has come from strength to strength. He can play right wing back. He can play right-sided center back. And I think in this system, he's going to be up and down this flank all day long. He can maybe tuck into the, into midfield as well. He's going to be absolutely excellent for this team. And I think across the whole season, Mason Mount has probably been Chelsea's most important player, alongside maybe N'Golo Kanté. But I think for this system that I'm playing, I could have gone for Kanté, but then I would have had to go with Soufal maybe as like a right back. But I think James on set pieces is also quite good. I think from open play, James maybe offers probably the most, apart from maybe Trent Alexander-Arnold, maybe, in an attacking sense. And James has just got a crazy engine on him. Also, he's ridiculously strong. If you watch the Champions League final, you'll see that even the fastest players like Raheem Sterling, he got by him, but Reece James just recovered and just basically bullied him off the ball. Moving into the left back position, we've gone with Luca Digne, again, someone who works very hard off the ball, somewhat astute defensively, again, a set piece taker from the opposite side with his left foot, can take free kicks as well, will again be making overlaps in here. I also wouldn't be surprised if he could pick up spaces in and around this area and able to whip in more deeper crosses, but also likes to get to the byline and can whip crosses into the strikers and forwards there as well. So that's our back line. And typically when we're on the attack, we're going to see the likes of Digne getting forward quite heavily. We'll see Diaz and Fofana taking up these positions. We're going to be very possession oriented, and if we do lose the ball, we're going to press them high up the pitch. Maybe Diaz and Fofana are going to be more in this area, and James and Digne are going to have the freedom to get forward. And Bielsa's definitely going to demand that out of him. And we would have Areola at a very high starting position in the event that the ball is lumped long. Because I think that's probably the only way you can beat our team is you have to get past the high line. But I think with Fofana in there with his pace, Areola with his, we can make him have his willingness to come out of the goal. And he's great at shot stopping anyway in a 1v1 situation. And Digne and James are pretty quick to get back as well. So I think our back line is very solid from what I've chosen. In midfield, I've actually gone with a little bit of a. It could be a diamond. It can also be like a 4-2-3-1. It kind of depends on how you want to play it. But the first main defensive or the midfield position is Declan Rice, and he's my West Ham player. I think he's been excellent for West Ham this season. It was very difficult to pick between him and Souček. I just think that if I'm going to pick Souček, then I have to maybe downgrade the defensive midfield position. And I want to be able to put somebody in there who could be on their own, just very disruptive, very good, very comfortable on the ball, playing out from the back, receiving the ball off of Diaz and Fofana, enabling to, find the areas out on either flank very quickly, moving it from back to front. Also, we have in the midfield, and I think I'm probably going to change. I'm going to go for more of a 4-2-3-1. Stick with the United system, and I think it's going to work quite well in this situation. And the other player that I've gone in the pivot is actually James Ward-Prowse. I think, again, another fantastic set piece taker. So we have a bunch of different ways we can attack a set piece. Ward-Prowse is obviously going to be most of them, and he's arguably the best free kick taker in the entire Premier League. I thought he was excellent for Southampton, one of their very few shining lights this season. They've had all kinds of trouble in central midfield with Vermeer getting injured, in attack with Danny Ings getting injured, down the back with Walker Peters constantly being out as well in centre-back troubles, and their goalkeepers just swapping in and out basically every game. I think Ward-Prowse definitely could cause teams problems. He's also quite combative, likes to pick up a yellow card, likes to be rough in the challenge, and I think he is very captain material. And if you look at the players on the team, like in terms of the leaders of the team, Diaz, very captain material. Digne often can wear the armband for Everton when Seamus Coleman is not on the pitch, or Sigurdsson's not on the pitch. Fofana is a very young, astute player, but also imposes himself on the game. Ward-Prowse, captain of Southampton. Rice, captain of West Ham. And then also basically the captain without the armband as well, who's going to be my number 10, is Bruno Fernandes. I think he's just... You can't have him not in the team. I think he had 40 plus goal involvements this season. I think he broke Lampard's record for single goals in a Premier League season. So Fernandes has been absolutely insane this season. Again, you have a penalty taker as well who's basically just doesn't miss as well. So set pieces, long range free kicks were covered. Left side, right side were covered. Corners were covered. Direct free kicks from close, James Ward-Prowse got that covered. Penalties, Fernandes is all over them. And then you have three captains in the center of the pitch. You got your stalwart of your midfield in there. And speaking of captains as well, out on this left-hand side, I've gone with Jack Grealish. And I think, again, someone who's very tricky with the ball at his feet, will win a lot of fouls, which means a lot of set pieces, which means a lot of deliveries into the box, which means more goals for our team as well. And also, he's someone who, if he's higher up the pitch, he can press, somewhat astutely. Don't necessarily want him to have to do as much attacking, or defensive pressing. If he needs to just kind of close the player down a little bit, doesn't really need to work extremely hard. He can let the likes of Ward-Prowse and Fernandes and Salah, who's my other attacker here as well, do more of the pressing. So it's going to be more Fernandes, Ward-Prowse, Salah, and our forward, which is Harry Kane, who's going to be doing most of the press work, as it were. And often you find, even if you watch Manchester United, Bruno tends to drift into this kind of space, this kind of touch line quite often, which means Jack Grealish can take up these central positions where he's oh so good. Now, if we remove, transitioning this to a Bielsa style system, he plays a 4-1-4-1. So what we would do is we would just shift Fernandes to more of the left-sided attacking midfielder in the 4, and then Rice would kind of hold the central position, creating the 4-1-4-1. And like I said, Bielsa would be our manager. So in defense, what we would basically do is we would set up to basically press initially. So if the ball is, let's say, I'll just put some just put a few players out for their team really quick. If the enemy opposition has the ball, let's say they're in a 4-3-3, let's say. They got their number 9 there. And the ball is with the goalkeeper, so the center backs will probably split wide. The defensive midfielder goes there. The fullbacks kind of hug the touchline. The central midfielders offer passing lanes and create this kind of diamond in here. And then these 4 players can also be in this position here. So what I basically want is the likes of Kane and Fernandez to probably cut off the passing lanes. I would like Rice and Ward-Prowse to basically kind of go man for man on their central midfielders, which is exactly what Bielsa's system typically does. You know, typically you find Dallas or Click and players like that, marking up central players. I would have Grealish kind of just see if, cut off this passing lane to the fullback over here, kind of mark him up. Salah as well. Also, Salah and Grealish will be responsible for making potential blindsided runs onto the defender and presses if they were to start to receive the ball, and they have basically the play in front of them. And if that situation were to occur, we would make sure that the likes of Digne would then proceed to move forward up there as well to the players that are being vacated, and then the likes of Fofana and Diaz would then occupy the forward, and then they can go and cover these players as well. And if they were to bang the ball into the channel to the forward, we would just have Areola as our sweeper keeper. Because that's what we would be looking to do without the ball. And with the ball, what we'd be looking to do if the enemy team is, let's say they're in a a standard block, because our team is just that good, and they'd be so scared because they've already lost one of their key players. Let's say they're just in a block of 2 banks of, they got their 2 banks of 4, or maybe they have an extra one in midfield and they have their their player like that. What we would like to do is we would allow Grealish the license to get into this position here. We'd have Rice and Ward-Prowse setting up quite aggressively. Fernandez would be kind of popping in and around this space, kind of pulling defenders off. We'd have Kane being more of the natural striker, kind of how you see Bamford. He drops off to link play and then makes runs into this area here. He would try to be occupying the center backs. And then we'd have Salah and Reece James making these overlap or underlapping runs. So Reece James could take up this position. Digne, the same as well, can take up this position, and they can make underlapping runs. And then we'd have our fullbacks, or our center backs rather, extremely high up on the pitch, split out just a little bit, and it would be kind of similar to like a WM formation, kind of similar to how the I believe it was the Busby Babes that actually initiated that. Where you have this kind of like W structure, where you have these diagonals of a bunch of different players that can release the ball quickly and can progress the ball vertically quite quickly as well. Digne could often get down in this channel here. Grealish can make runs into the box. Salah can make runs into the box, both on their favorite foots as well. But one thing of Bielsa's that he likes to do is these underlapping runs from the fullback. And Reece James getting into this position is super dangerous. Same with Digne. They can slide it across the 18 or the 6-yard box, cut it back to the penalty spot. There's various different ways that we can basically run this system. So yeah, that's my lineup. I hope you all enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments down below what your team would be, because I think mine is pretty good, and I would challenge you to see if you can come up with something better than this one. So we'll just run it through one more time. I'll put them back in the system. So it is managed by Marcelo Bielsa. We have Areola in goal. We have Digne, Diaz, Fofana, Reece James, Declan Rice in the 1, Fernandez, Ward-Prowse, Grealish, and Salah in the next 4, and then Kane is our striker. And then I almost forgot our 3 subs off the bench. So our first sub in defense would be Ben Mee, just a solid defender, very good if we need to kind of protect the lead and we need to go a bit more defensive, maybe we're man down or something like that. He can come in and just be quite good in the air. In midfield, Ward-Prowse or Rice pick up an early yellow or something like that. I would want an option to come in and swap with them. Yves Bissouma, someone very combative, very good on the ball as well, and can kind of play this number 6 role quite nicely. And then kind of our midfield / attacking option, who's actually unfortunate. He could also play in this position in here. I just went with a bit more like the captain style in midfield, is Eberechi Eze. I think I pronounced that right. But Eze from Crystal Palace, he actually just suffered a very, very bad Achilles injury. Could be out for quite a while. But he is someone who's fantastic on the ball as well, can play in one of these wide positions where Grealish and Salah occupy, but also can play in these central positions as well. So that would be my team. Let me know what you think in the comments down below, and post your team in the comments down below. I'll be taking a look at all of those as well. And yeah, that's my team of the season. And that's going to do it for this video. Make sure to leave a like on the video if you enjoyed it. Make sure to subscribe to the channel if you are new, and turn those notification bells on so that you can get new videos and releases and content as soon as it is readily available. And drop us a follow over on Twitter so you can keep up to date with all the new video posts and news that goes out that I'll be retweeting over there, as well as when we go live over on Twitch, which you can give us a follow over there as well. There'll be a pinned comment down below as to when my next stream is. For this video, it would be that Friday would be our first stream for the inaugural Manchester United career mode on FIFA 21. So we'll see how that goes. I'm going to see if I can beat Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's total points tally of 74, I think it was, this season with the same players. I'm going to be playing on world class. I'm not the greatest player at FIFA, so I think it's going to be quite a challenge for me. But if I can do it, then hey, who knows? But definitely some some fun content in the off season. That's going to be over on Twitch, and there'll be a pinned comment down below that you can check out to see when that is. Thanks for watching, and until the next one, take care.